Hi, today I want to expand a little bit the discussion on politics and conflation on this theme I started with a while back. I said that this was one of the topics discussed in Fuzzy on the Dark Side, how approximate thinking is frequently used to simplify the world, to replace certain ideas or certain situations with simpler versions of themselves. But increasingly, I see this. The whole field of, of politics, particularly when it relates to elections, is a big chunk of it is just based on this concept of conflation. This is the whole idea. There is somebody trying to abuse people's tendency for emotion, the for approximate thinking, for invoking their identities in understanding the world. Somebody is abusing that in order to benefit. Okay, so there is this kind of forced or intentional conflation by these political leaders or by these representatives who purposefully use certain words, statements, uh, slogans, ideas that are designed, that are intended to confuse people and to make people conflate their identities with certain practical issues. Right? Sometimes you think, or I think to myself, wow, people should be thinking practically about this particular issue. But then somebody makes this speech in which that has the us, the them, God, the country, values, I don't know, and then people lose touch with reality. Sometimes it's a simple issue, but somebody wants to move people in this direction or that direction. Sometimes it's for personal gain, sometimes it's for institutional gain, sometimes it's for simple profit motives, that it just gets ridiculous. Look at the concept of vagueness in political statements. Look at the fact that certain statements, certain speeches take so much time and effort to be made, particularly to craft sentences in ways that are hard for the people to understand. Right? This is the purpose. Don't say that; people will oppose it. Okay, so we say it in a different way. You say things that will get the approval of the biggest denomination of people, of voters. Well, what does this mean? It means that there is a purposeful conflation being made, particularly when people should be thinking in terms of practical, reality-based solutions. I'm not talking about identity politics here. I'm just talking about simple things. What should we do with tariffs? What should we do with building this project, with starting this initiative, and so on? And these things frequently get conflated into identities on purpose. Okay, this is the vagueness, and so in a sense, this representative politics is the art of making people conflate ideas with identities more than they should. Right? This representative is supposed to be the voice of the people, but how can he be the voice of the people if they have very different personal agendas, or they don't share the same objectives or the same social status? A lot of issues can arise there, and so my question, also raised in Fuzzy on the Dark Side here, is: can we get rid of this conflation? Why do we need to keep this conflation? Well, because with time, previously, there was no way to get the people's consensus on certain issues. So we needed them to be represented by this one person, like every 1,000 people will get one representative and so on. Why? Well, because we can't ask 1,000 people everything. Now, there is also the hidden objective of, well, many of these people don't know what they talk about, so we better get somebody that knows what they're talking about, right? So you have these two dimensions justifying the representative getting representation on things that they shouldn't. But here, I have a number of issues, a number of ideas, a number of problems. First, the leader slash the representative, and there is a dual function here somehow. Is he a representative or is he a leader? But this leader slash representative should be principled in a sense, should be sort of honest, truthful, and so on. But the way in which they are elected kind of negates this from the start, right? This is what I believe. This is the first issue. Two, we have more experts and we have more understanding now. So the question is, shouldn't we reconsider this idea of the representative? I vote for someone and then for like 4 years they can do whatever they want on my behalf. Well, why is this happening? There is momentum. This used to be practical in the past, but it's not as practical now. Imagine we have this project related to, building a certain building, to allocating money for research, etc. Well, it's easy for people to vote on this, and even better, it's easy for people who are specialists in the field to have a higher weight for their vote if the other people agree, right? So, this issue is related to a particular field of medicine. Well, it makes sense that, if it's a social issue, everybody gets to say something, but what about these people? They have studied the issue very hard, and I trust them. They can take part of that. My idea here is that I'm not saying we should do this or this has to be done. I'm saying that this huge problem in politics based on conflation, this huge issue of representation, might have more elegant solutions these days, because the dynamics of power and conflation make things very problematic. Experts in certain fields can be given more freedom. We can trust them without them having to answer to somebody with questionable motives, right? They can answer directly to the people. These experts in particular issues. Now, again, it all boils down to this idea: do you believe that the people are uninformed enough that we should just replace them with this one person? Because otherwise, there can be many solutions for deciding on a number of issues. But if the big idea is replacing many people's opinions with this one person's opinion, well, we need kind of to make sure that this one person is a good person. Here, I remember when COVID was hitting the United States, it was a very hard time, difficult time, and there was this almost comic scene of Trump with these scientists standing next to him. They are the experts, but he is briefing the journalists and saying, well, we agreed to look at this medicine, and I told them to think about how we can put bleach in people's veins and get the ultraviolet rays of the sun into somebody's bodies. And they were standing there just shaking their heads, right? Because the political system has this built-in component where the conflation of identities and competence and expertise leads to the unfortunate consequences. So the question here is, are we ready to have more direct representation? I mean, we as humans, more direct representations within political system in deciding certain things, so people get to vote. Right? In Switzerland, in California, there is movement towards these kinds of systems where people get to vote more, get to participate more, and it is easier using technology. It is easier, and the role of the sweeping representative, of this broad representative of everything, can be reduced. I mean, unless this representative is somebody who is not abusing conflation in this sense.